Hello, you're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random side quests. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. Just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
That's right. And I just want to say officially, some good news. Nothing actually important or anything like that. Is I joined a new D&D campaign with Tiffany because a spot opened up.
Yeah, one of our other players had to drop out, and we were like, we don't want this to end.
More like she didn't want it to end. But I just want to say I was super excited because on, I forgot what episode number, I should have looked it up, but it plays at night, one of the Quest Over episodes. We came up with the best character class or character idea, and I made that happen. And so now I am playing a Hex Bard.
Yay!
And we just did my first session yesterday at the time of this recording.
Our captain wasn't exactly thrilled about one of the crewmates getting killed and replaced by this new guy, but we're working our way through it.
I did my own twist on it.
Yeah.
So to explain it out.
Yeah.
Because I did my own twist where it's a Spelljammers campaign. I wanted where my character's personality was in a loot, and basically whoever picks up the loot would then get possessed. And I set it up so that like my character has been alive for like tens of thousands of years, like super long, and just jumps from body to body. And when my character jumps into a body or possesses a body, pushes out the original soul. So technically I killed them.
Yep.
But, my character has been just so numb about it, doesn't really care. And so technically I was introduced by killing someone.
Yeah, not the best introduction, and there was a little bit of an issue with that.
Well, it was with a crewmate that you guys didn't even care about.
I mean, we cared about him enough to hire him.
Hardly anything, and he was the quote-unquote just entertainer.
I was trying to gloss it over as much as I could, but...
oh, no. Tiffany's husband, who's the third player of it,
and the captain of the ship.
Okay, I'll do that air quotes captain. But would not let it go. And I'm just trying to like, oh yeah, I'll help out the party through like just like consultation or like all that stuff. But he would not let it go.
It's like, you introduce yourself by killing someone. It's kind of the only way it works, yeah.
And it was just like, it was
amusing.
It was slightly amusing, but it was just, I wanted to get along. I just like me introduced to the party and all that stuff.
Cue like what, 3 hours of discussing a contract? What it felt like.
It felt like 3. It was like an hour.
Okay. That's still a long time.
I want people's opinions on this down in the comments.
Oh,
Real
no.
quick. He's like, okay, we'll go through a test run in which you'll join us and help us out. And if you're good enough, then we'll sign a contract. And that my character was like, no, sign a contract now for this quote unquote trial period to guarantee that I will get paid on whatever happens. And then we could renegotiate afterwards. But he was so adamant about no contract signed until I do the full job period.
He wanted you to audition.
Yes, but that is just stupid to not sign a contract beforehand.
I'm going to make him listen to this episode so he can hear you rant on and on about
his
contract.
Make our DM listen to this so he gets PTSD again about this stupid argument.
He got up and left at one point.
He did. He's like, just keep going,
yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
He came back when it got quiet because we actually finally decided something.
I kept telling DM, I'm like, I'm trying to push this forward, man.
And I was trying to smooth it over as much as I could, but, there's only so much the first mate can do.
You know what? This might be like my therapy session after our sessions. Where it's just going to be, I will update people about how the campaign's going and how much my character is fighting with the quote-unquote captain.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
We'll call it the Astral Drifter's Diaries.
Yep. You heard it first here, folks.
That was my background, because we're playing Spelljammers.
No, I know. I don't remember. I think I might have that background. I think we all have a Spelljammers-related background, and there's only 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, back to what we're actually doing.
Yes.
We're doing a normal quest board episode today. So, do you have dice?
I got them. 13.
Lucky number 13.
Probably one of my favorite numbers.
It's actually my favorite number.
It's one of my favorites. I have quite a few favorite numbers.
Well, I was born on the 13th. That's why.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do. This one says, lost arrow. When practicing with a bow, my son lost a trophy arrow. He was practicing in the northern plains and thinks the arrow went into the forbidden forest. Please retrieve this arrow. As an alchemist, I will pay in healing potions.
Interesting.
In the parentheses, there's a little parentheses that says he was not supposed to use the trophy arrow.
Kind of implied.
It's giving me Sandlot vibes.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
And all I just think is forever. When it was the kid mouthing the
Yeah.
police or whatever, or the mayor.
Okay, so there's a really big dog in the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah, we'll put Cerberus in the Forbidden Forest.
Yes, a pit bull Cerberus.
Sure.
Was that dog a pit bull or a mastiff? I don't remember. He was huge.
It was I think it was a Saint Bernard. It was just a big breed dog.
You're right. It was a Saint Bernard. Those guys are so sweet.
Yeah, but they just need a huge dog, and kids are afraid of big dogs.
Yeah.
It was the active imagination of kids.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, any dog can be mean depending on how the owners treat them. So
That's also true.
yes, but also any dog can be nice depending on how the owners treat them as well.
But the owner in the movie was nice.
I haven't seen that movie in a really long time. Were they?
Yes.
Oh.
He was the blind guy, the blind black guy that had like a bunch of just baseball memorabilia and all that stuff. You don't remember this.
No, I'm making the Tiff don't remember this face for those of you listening.
Anyways, this isn't the Sandlot fan cast. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
This is a quest board.
This is the quest board post that's essentially the Sandlot, but with an arrow in a forbidden forest.
Let's not go in the direction of Sandlot.
I mean, it's kind of already doing that. But, okay, so I want this arrow to be like a golden arrow because they said it was a trophy, so I feel like the whole thing should be like gold.
Okay.
Or bronze, or some kind of, cool-looking metal.
You know what I just thought of? Something we could do is actually get shot out into the Forbidden Forest. What happens if they track it down, or they go in there and they find that it's stuck on the side of just a gigantic beast?
Oops.
You know, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's just sticking out of him.
Yeah.
But maybe something that has really thick armor plating, so it's just embedded in the armor.
Yeah, it could be just jammed into side of a wyvern or something like that.
Yeah.
Or just sticking out the back of an owlbear.
And it's just pissed. It's not happy that it's got an arrow in its butt.
But then if we do that, then it's simple. Go in, fight, come out.
Pretty much. They gotta track it down, though.
Yeah, but there's nothing much for us to add.
We can think of things. We can have, stuff happen to them in the forest. It's a forbidden forest. It's gotta be forbidden for a reason. So...
Yeah, and owlbear's in there.
That... Just one critter.
These
does
are
not a forbidden
commoners.
forest
These are
make.
commoners. An owlbear would kill them instantly.
Yeah, but at that point, they could just hire adventurers to come in and kill the owlbear. What makes this forest forbidden? Is it like a dark forest situation where it's got magic growing through it?
Okay. I'm pulling a page of something I've already thought of before, but I'm altering it.
Oh no, we're using ideas.
Yes.
Heaven forbid.
Okay, I'll tell you the original idea and then how I'm going to shift it for this one.
Okay.
My original idea was to have a walking fortress kind of thing in a desert where it's earth. It's a small fort that's on a earth elemental kind of thing, and it'll be inhabited by earth genasi.
Oh.
Who believe that the entire desert is their land, but then there's all those small water oasis cities.
Mm-hmm.
And they are basically acting like bandits or anything like that, saying that this is originally their motherland. Now,
I can see that being an issue.
Yeah, and I think it was a good way to just start players off in a desert / have a mobile thing and being captured, and that was the start of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Now convert that into maybe a rock golem fort that moves around through the forest. And it could still be Earth Genasi, but just more of a muddy Earth Genasi than the sand one that I was thinking of.
Swamp benders instead of sand benders.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Wait, sand benders? Is
That's
that an actual thing in Avatar?
Yeah, it is. They live in the desert. They kidnapped Appa.
Okay, but swamp benders are water benders.
They're water benders. Yes, what I'm saying is that
But
variant.
sand benders would be more of earth.
They're earth benders, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying variant of bending. Carry on.
But there are two different types of bending.
Swamp benders could also be earth benders that bend mud.
Okay. I don't know it that well. It's just like in my mind, those are just two different bends.
Because earth benders can also bend mud because there's bits of earth in it. It is a place where earth and water benders can work together.
Oh, okay.
But that's not from the story. That's just me speculating. All of these swamp benders in Avatar: The Last Airbender are water benders.
You know how much like fan fiction there is about the Avatar universe?
I can imagine. It's a really cool universe.
Also, there's just a lot of fan writers out there.
There's so many fan fiction writers, and some of them are amazingly good.
For every kind
I've read some really good fan fictions.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was that kind of style. What happens if we have it that where like on top of a rock elemental or golem or anything like that walks on fours, you could see like sticking out, just maybe they don't even notice, and the arrow's just sticking out the side of like one of the houses that's perched on top.
Could be.
And then they're like, we have to get up there and get that either through stealth or by force or negotiation.
I had an alternate idea while you were talking about that. It's still the creature with something growing on its back, but it's more along the lines of the entire forest is growing on its back. So giant elemental, I'm thinking kind of tortoise related. And the reason it's a forbidden forest is because it shows up every now and then and just kind of appears. No one really actually knows that it's on the back of something and it's moving around. It just appears overnight, and then a couple days later, it'll disappear and show up somewhere else. So that's why it's forbidden to go into it, because if you go into that forest, you will disappear with it. But really, it's just the giant turtle getting up and moving somewhere else.
That one, okay, I'm getting like God of War vibes, because if you remember in the more recent one with Daddy Kratos.
Daddy Kratos.
Everyone knows what I mean when I say that.
Oh, I know. It's just adorable.
Where I think it was Freya. Her house was like a giant turtle said like when you called out, it would lift up just to like show the entrance to the house.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more like the lion turtles from Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it's more of an entire ecosystem on their back instead of just a house.
Okay, but how big is this? So then like would it be forest arrives and then forest is gone?
Kind of. They'd have to track down the forest. They'd have to figure out the mysteries of the Forbidden Forest. Why does it disappear? Because they got to go find that arrow.
I mean, okay, that is an actual possibility. I don't know if we want a forest that stays or not. But okay, I'm gonna toss out one possible, and then we can just decide our path.
I like your idea too. I'm just giving you what popped in my head.
This one is also based off a previous thing I've done. I can't create anything new. I'm sorry, guys.
You have a lot of cool experiences.
It was a idea I had where I tossed out there that there was like to a player of mine that there was a children's tale of like kind of like the boogeyman of like little kids who goes out into a forest, they don't come back, kind of like a scary bedtime story kind of thing.
Very typical one, yeah.
But I had it so that when he went into the forest, it would turn out to be real, and then just in the middle of the forest, he finds a house that's a Victorian style house. And basically then I made him go through the death house, which is like one of the intro things in the Curse of Strahd campaign.
Oh, fun.
And so then he went through a Victorian house and all that stuff. But it was one of those. And then I custom made the quote unquote boogeyman.
Gonna ask if the house had chicken legs.
No.
Okay.
It's not the Baba Yaga.
It's not the Baba Yaga.
That was a different thing I did in that same campaign though. But it was like I custom made like the quote unquote boogeyman to be like Slenderman like and all that stuff.
Slenderman is kind of scary.
But the story was where he would hunt down children with a crossbow that was like wandering around the forest late at night or early morning, and so or on a foggy day. And he just so happened to have it like it was a foggy morning, and then he came across the house. And then when he little trigger content warning about what I'm saying, because I made it where he hunt down like small local kids. There was like local kid bodies hanging out in the basement and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I won't go into much detail, but when discovered and then he got confronted by the said boogeyman, he fought it, which I turned into a shade that was absorbing like life essence. And then when he defeated it, the whole house shook and all that stuff. And when he left the house, then I made gave the house mimic stats as if he possessed the house to attack him afterwards.
Oh, it turned into Monster House?
And I used Monster House because it was a virtual table.
Yeah.
I actually used the image of Monster House.
Oh, that's a funny house.
But what happens if we, in the Forbidden Forest of this, we make up our own version of the like a boogeyman?
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why maybe the kids won't go in there or anything like that. And let's say the parent, well, it's an actual superstition for the entire village.
Yeah.
Because the parent made up the quest.
Yes.
And
the parent didn't just go in and get it. There's a reason they don't want to go in this forest.
It's a legit superstition that they have, but it's not fully proven.
Not fully proven, but it could actually be a real thing.
But then it turns out a real thing.
Yes.
And then they had it so that when they go in, then they have to confront the quote-unquote boogeyman.
Okay.
So, which of the three would you like to do?
Shoot. I mean, I am partial to my own idea, but we could combine them.
How so?
We could.
Both of mine requires the thing to be stationary. Okay, the boogeyman one has to be stationary.
Okay.
Maybe if it was the Earth Genasi one, then they could be the inhabitants of the moving forest.
Why does the boogeyman have to be stationary?
Because the local residents have to. It's got to be around the entire time, so then they can have that superstition about the Forbidden Forest.
Well, what I'm saying is, when it appears, they know it's bad because there's a boogeyman in it.
I think they will be more afraid that it appears and disappears rather than boogeyman. If they were superstitious. If I'm going along the lines of the superstitious mindset.
That could also be the reason people never come back is because they can't get out of the forest in time before it disappears because there's a boogeyman. I'm just saying, it could be combined.
I could see the Earth Genasi and the disappearing forest combining, but not as much for the boogeyman, in my opinion.
Okay. I like the boogeyman idea, though. So stationary forest it is. We'll set aside the turtle for later. And the Genasi.
So we're doing just...
Making up a boogeyman?
Are we doing a Questober?
No.
Where we're making a monster, basically.
It could be.
I'm not saying no to it. I'm just saying we're basically doing that.
We're going to have to steer clear of every boogeyman that's already been made. Unless we want to just look up, like, regional boogeymen.
No, I'm not going to look anything up.
It could be the Mothman.
No, okay.
I like Mothman.
We're not making a cryptid.
Okay. Well, what is a boogeyman if not a cryptid?
Well, it's just like, for example, like the one I did, where it's just it's the story of just a tall, slender man who hunts down children with his crossbow who wander into his woods late at night.
That's also a cryptid.
That's more of a killer than a cryptid.
I guess I need to look up the definition of cryptid at this point. I don't want to.
I think a lot of cryptids are like supernatural monsters or creatures, while more like the boogeyman is a conscious like entity that hides in closets. Like it's not it doesn't act on instinct and it's not an animal kind of thing.
Mothman's a man, but also
is it
a moth.
a legit man?
He's man-shaped. Has arms and legs.
So is Bigfoot, but he's not intelligent.
Some
people argue on that one.
There's a lot of arguments there. Do not get into the Bigfoot discourse.
I think there's a difference between a boogeyman and a cryptid.
Okay.
I believe there is a difference.
More along the lines of, I feel like boogeyman is what parents use to keep their kids in line, whereas a cryptid is something that everyone just claims they saw.
Yeah. But then it's just like, this one is don't go into the forest.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, don't go into the forest. There's a boogeyman in there. What is the boogeyman?
Do you want to look up a name for the boogeyman?
Yeah, I don't think there's a boogeyman name generator.
If I remember, the boogeyman I named was like Saram. I just like gave a random name.
Boogeyman name generator.
There is one.
Nicknames for boogeyman. No. That's not useful. That's
okay. We don't have to think of a name.
Weird fonts instead of actual names. Weird. Yeah, they've got demon name generators though. So usually a boogeyman, I don't actually know what Baba Yaga means. I want to say Baba is something along the lines of grandma.
Yeah, something like that. It's a Russian thing.
Yeah. Okay, Baba Yaga means... It translates into grandmother... I'm gonna mess this word up. Jadwiga? Anyway, grandmother.
But I think the Baba Yaga is a good example of... You wouldn't consider the Baba Yaga a cryptid.
Her house is.
But you would consider the Baba Yaga a boogeyman.
Like I said, I need to redefine cryptids in my head then.
This is my definition, I guess. I don't know. I've never actually had extensive discussion about the difference between a boogeyman and a cryptid.
Right?
This is a first for me.
Time. It's a time for firsts. Spring is coming soon, please. I hate being cold. Anyway, so something along the lines of a similarity to that. So someone who hunts down kids, probably, because that's where all the boogeymen come from, really, is parents trying to tell their children, don't do this thing, or insert scary name will get you, because they just don't want the kids to do the thing.
Yeah, that's how it stems, which is very dark.
What if this thing is only real because the people in the village next to it believe it?
Yeah, well, that could be the origin of it. Like, it started off as just something to tell the kids, and then it's kind of like Pennywise.
Yep, never watched it. It
has control over the kids or the characters because they're afraid of him. And once they got over their fears and all that stuff, that's how they defeated Pennywise.
Okay.
So it could be like that, where it's just like the fear of it generated it in the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah, and it like feeds on that fear, and that's what keeps it alive.
Okay, what kind of special qualities? Like, in when people enter the Forbidden Forest,
because you can imagine teenagers going in there doing a test of
courage.
Courage, thank you. I was like, faith is the wrong word here. Courage, yeah.
How much do you believe in the goddess Mistra? Walk into the forest.
So test of courage.
Oh, we could. This could work out as possibly a monster of the week.
Yeah.
Or a Call of Cthulhu.
Honestly, yeah, it would work for so many things. So apparently there's a movie just called The Boogeyman.
No, I'm not surprised.
Okay, so creature, does it eat the kids? Here's where we start. What does it do with the kids once it gets them? Does it eat them? Does it lock them in a cage and just kind of feed off their soul for a while? Does it tie them down and tickle their toes?
Okay. This is going to be very dark.
Oh, no.
If you're sensitive about dark things, I'm sorry. What if the story is that it is trying to feed a tree with blood?
Okay.
In which anyone he captures in the forest will be then tied to said tree and basically be bled out, so the blood drains to go on the trunk and roots.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like hanging multiple bodies on the branches to let them drip or like drain out kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what happens if that is the motivation?
Okay. Trying to think of like names that can come from that.
Also, maybe it's like the origin of that is maybe you would see like within like past the forest, you see one tree that's much bigger than the others, like kind of a world tree kind of style to it.
Okay.
And they believe that that's the tree that gets fed the blood of the people who get captured.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a little bit of like the root cause of like them saying that.
This could be one of those forests where it's actually all one tree, and all of the other, air quotes here, trees that you see are really just the roots of the main tree that have spread out and poked up above the earth.
I think I've seen those diagrams where like there's some that's...
So the whole forest is one tree.
Okay. And that's it slowly turned to that because he became real and started feeding blood onto the tree.
So feeding this one tree, it has like spread out and either assimilated all of the other trees, or the forest is slowly spreading because it keeps sprouting new trees. There actually is a type of tree where if you cut it down, the sap runs red, like blood.
Okay, whatever tree that is.
Whatever tree that is. And that right there could have started the entire thing.
Okay,
because the people tried to chop down one of these trees and it bled. So now they believe that forest feeds on blood.
We got something cooking now.
Let me look up what kind of tree that is, actually.
Well, to be fair, for like the RPG table, they don't fully care.
Well, it's literally called a dragon blood tree.
Great on naming conventions.
I know. Dracaena cinnabari. It looks like it grows in really like arid places, and oh man, the top of it looks super cool.
But hey, in a tabletop RPG, it could grow anywhere you want.
Correct. And it can spread out and make an entire forest, but I do recommend looking up the dragon blood tree. They're pretty cool looking. I will send you a picture though, Brandon.
That's cool.
Right? And the sap really does look like blood, but it's just tree sap. You could probably make syrup out of that.
I would try that. I'll pour that over my pancakes.
Blood syrup.
I will feel so much like just a toughened warrior.
I know.
So like, that's my breakfast.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're really cool trees. They've got Like the way their canopy works is it's all, I think, needles on top. I can't quite exactly see what kind of leaves it has. But then on the bottom, all you just see is just branches spreading out like veins. It's pretty
So
neat.
it could be very, well, I was hoping for like, and you could always change it. But I was hoping for something like that, like because we're in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
I want to usually picture those trees that have lower branches so that it's hard to see through it.
Gotcha.
Instead of like just be able to, it's just a canopy above and you could see down. You know what I mean? I was thinking more of an unkept forest, so it's harder, like it's more thick or anything like that, so it's hard to navigate.
Well, there can always be like various heights of those trees too. Like there's really tall ones, yeah, but then there's little short ones growing up underneath as well. And the sunlight still filters through, so the little ones get light as well. So they're just varying heights all over the place.
This one's purely for the Dungeon Master and how they want to
whatever kind of tree you want to make, go ahead. But they bleed when you cut them, and which is already a thing that happens in nature, so it's believable.
Well, if we make it so that it's real, because Monster of the Week, Call of Cthulhu, or any fantasy tabletop RPG, you could easily just say it's a magical thing. So you could say it's just blood. Yeah. It's literally blood.
Originally it wasn't, though. It was just a red tree sap, but now that people believe about it, it's actually blood.
I was picturing like maybe having the boogeyman place name here, whatever you want to call it. Imagine the boogeyman probably like, I want to say, I don't know why, but long limbs is always creepy.
Oh yes, long limbs, maybe even extra joints.
I was thinking like possibly like longer, but still like on the slim side arms, and maybe like more of a hunchback or just like asymmetrical like body shape, or torso shape. In which that's the long arms is how it relies on just catching anyone.
And that's like how it reaches higher up in the trees to hang them.
To hang them and all that stuff. And maybe like a quote unquote utility belt, but it's like filled with just like meat hooks to hang someone or anything like that.
It's like, I can't imagine this thing having tools, shall we say? Maybe, okay, here, why don't we combine some trees? There are trees out there that are literally covered in spikes. Like the whole trunk of it is just spikes. We could take that and make the spikes a little bit longer so that this guy is literally just impaling the people on the spikes of the tree.
Okay. They're crucifying people on the tree.
Pretty much, yeah. Those are, by the way, extremely dangerous trees. Stay away from them if you see a tree that has spikes. Their seeds explode.
Oh, don't touch anything sharp? Really? I didn't think about that. Did you also see, like, know if it's hot, you shouldn't touch it either?
I've burnt my hand multiple times because I didn't realize that when I was younger. I was checking to see if it was hot, actually, and the smart part of my brain was turned off that day, so the way I was checking to see if it was hot was by touching it.
I'm just shaking my head.
I deserve that. Anyway, so yeah, we could combine a couple of tree types here and have it be the ones that have the obnoxious spikes, so this extremely long, spindly thing just hangs people on the spikes. You could give it a somewhat not scary name, but it's just scary. You could call it the Caretaker.
One, if you talk about just the caretakers in the Forbidden Forest, that's already automatically creepy. But yeah, you can easily call it that.
Or you can call it the Gardener.
I think any name, there's enough horror movies out there that any name could sound creepy if you put it in the right atmosphere.
Or you can call it the Keeper, like Keeper of the Forest.
You could call it the Arbiter.
Yeah, that's another word, yeah.
I think I can't remember which show or movie they were like making fun of, like someone trying to come up with a horror movie called The Arbiter. Or it was made or something like that. Can't remember exactly where I got that from, but I do remember that. I tried looking it up, and all I could find is a short film called The Arborist.
The Arborer.
Arbor. Yeah.
That's just hard to say. Anyway, person who takes care of these trees. Well, person? Boogeyman?
Okay,
whatever.
what is their one weakness? We'll come up with one weakness.
I feel like...
Because for most of this quest, it's just go in there, and then it's going to be...
So I feel like the Keeper, the Gardener, whatever we're calling them, would also be like a part of the forest. Maybe their skin is bark, like they're kind of tree-like themselves. And maybe like they have the ability to like walk through the trees, like disappear into one and come out at another.
Oh, that's okay. That's if on the fantasy side.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, this kind of feels like, they are one with the trees. They're a part of the forest and they care for it.
If you're going to say fire, that's too cliche.
I was going to say fire.
As you were explaining, I'm like, everyone's going to want to say fire.
Why not fire? That's a tree's weakness.
I mean, okay, if you want to go cop out and just do the obvious fire one.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if
Salt, then.
I was gonna say, what happens if you like somehow manage to trap the arbor or whatever the name is in a dry environment, and so then like that could be a weakness.
Okay.
Like somehow get moisture out, and then he'll shrivel up or become very brittle and very weak.
That is a lot harder than just light the thing on fire.
I know. Well, I was thinking more of a complex, like more in depth one, but fire is very simple and very yeah.
Vinegar? If you salt and vinegar land, it becomes inhabitable to plants. So I'm just saying.
Well, that's if his weakness is a gun.
The answer is more gun. So, there's a reason there's a saying, salt the earth. It's like, if you add too much salt to the earth, to the dirt, then, yeah, plants can't grow there. So what if adding salt, throwing salt around, is this thing's weakness? Throw some salt at it. Shove salt into a shotgun shell.
It makes it sound like he's a slug at that point.
Well, there's also a thing he has ghost-like qualities. He was manifested by people's fears. So one of the things in a lot of ghost hunting shows and stuff is purified salt. I'm just saying that because I watched Supernatural and salt was kind of a big deal in that. Or we can think of something else.
No, we could easily just go with safety net fire.
Safety net is fire. It made of wood, therefore fire.
Yeah, I think. Or what happens if... No, that would take too long. If you were to say he is a part of the trees, hurting the trees hurts him. So instead of focusing on the boogeyman, if you hurt the main big tree that he's trying to feed, that's what hurts him.
Oh, yeah.
But then that might be a little bit too convoluted, or in the group's not going to figure that out, you know?
I literally just Googled what is a tree's weakness.
An axe.
No, it's just talking about cracked or broken branches cause weakness in the tree. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want.
You call down the snowstorm in springtime and he's going to snap. His arms are going to snap.
Just make it windy.
Well, it depends on the type of trees. There are types of trees that can handle windstorms. There's others that can't.
Yeah.
It depends on how they grew up.
Apparently, trees are weak to soil compaction, change in soil depth, and improper watering. So there's the dryness.
A fire it is. Okay. I'm now doubling down on fire. I'm going to cut out all of this talk about weakness and we just fire. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could, but it wouldn't make sense. But anyways, I guess that's pretty much it. You got a quest for a lost arrow in which there's a known boogeyman in there.
Yeah, which is why they don't go get it.
And then when the party goes in, then they're going to be actually, whilst trying to search for it, they're going to be hunted by said boogeyman.
Mm-hmm. Where's the arrow? In the side of the mother tree?
I think it'll be when the kid fires it, it won't be that far into the forest.
No.
But
the boogeyman
when they try to find it, they'll see that the arrow is a part of his belt or something like that.
Oh, he just has it on him.
He picked it up.
Okay.
And then they're like, okay, now we have to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
They deal with it mostly through fire.
Burn the forest down.
Or hit him enough times.
True.
If you have an axe, maybe that does more damage. I don't know.
I feel like an axe would definitely get at least advantage, if not more damage.
Maybe. Depends on the system you're playing.
Right. Yes, that.
But yeah, after they kill it, then return the arrow. Say that you killed the boogeyman. They'll probably not believe you.
Right.
But you legitimately killed the boogeyman.
If they don't believe you, they can manifest it back, and it will come back and continue to haunt them.
Oh, what happens if that is a thing where that boogeyman has died multiple times, but the people wouldn't believe that it actually died?
Yeah, unless you burn down the entire forest, they won't believe it's dead.
Yeah, and then it's a vicious cycle. Okay,
just keeps coming back.
That's cool.
What if there's some sort of source maybe that's embedded in the mother tree, the big tree, that is feeding off of those fears and recreating.
Okay, that's a Call of Cthulhu thing, or a maybe Monster of the Week thing.
Yeah, maybe
that tree does birth the boogeyman because of it.
Yeah,
but
it just grows a new caretaker.
But yeah, that is up for another quest. You've completed this one,
Yes.
and so have we. So,
We done.
we have 2 social medias. One is on Twitter or X at Questboard Pod. The other one is on YouTube. Just search Questboard Pod and it'll show up. If you put this into your campaign, we'll love to hear on either of those sites what happened and how your party handled it. Or if you have a quest post of your own that you want to send to us that we'll try to make a quest out of, let us know. I think with that, I wish you all a good night.
And happy questing.